Dear viewers, today, CEO Toan and Ly Tu Diem took their little son to get vaccinated, a meaningful milestone in his journey of growing up. From their initial worries, his tears during the shot, to the joyful smiles over an ice cream treat afterward, every moment painted a sweet and emotional picture of parental love. If you enjoy heartwarming and inspiring stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support Toan and Diem's family. The early morning sun filtered softly through the curtains, casting a golden glow across the cozy bedroom. The air was calm, filled only with the gentle rhythm of a child's breathing. Nestled between his parents, the little boy slept peacefully, his small hands still clutching the edge of his blanket. Ly Tu Diem turned slightly and smiled as she watched her son. Today was a special day, his first vaccine of the year. While many parents might dread it, for Diem and her husband, CEO Toan, it was a moment they had been looking forward to. It was a sign their little boy was growing, taking one more step in the journey of life. She leaned over and gently stroked his hair. "Sweetheart, time to wake up," she whispered softly, her voice filled with affection. The little boy stirred, blinking his eyes open with a sleepy frown. Toan, already awake, entered the room with a small outfit in his hands, an adorable baby blue shirt and soft khaki shorts. He grinned as he walked over to the bed. "Guess who's going to be a brave boy today?" he said in a playful tone, kneeling beside the bed and kissing his son's cheek. Diem laughed as the boy stretched his arms, still waking up. "Today is your special day, my little warrior," she cooed. "You're going to get a small shot, but afterward, Daddy promised ice cream." At the word ice cream, the boy's eyes brightened just a little, even though he didn't fully understand what was happening. He simply knew that something was different today, and that both his parents seemed extra excited. Toan helped change the boy into the clean clothes, chatting animatedly the whole time, while Diem packed a small bag with essentials, wet wipes, a change of clothes, and the vaccination card. She also tucked in her son's favorite plush rabbit, just in case he needed comfort during the appointment. "I've checked the schedule," Toan said, glancing at his phone. "Our appointment's at 9:30. We have just enough time to stop for a little breakfast on the way." Diem nodded. "Perfect. I made some porridge for him earlier, he can eat in the car." As they got ready to leave, Diem wrapped a soft hat around the baby's head and handed him the plush toy. Toan lifted their son into his arms, holding him close. "Ready, champ?" he asked. The boy nodded, gripping his toy tightly. Outside, the weather was beautiful. The sky was a light blue, and the breeze was soft against their faces. Toan carefully placed their son into his car seat, making sure everything was secure. Diem settled in beside him, keeping him entertained with songs and stories as the car rolled down the familiar streets. There was laughter in the air, along with a hint of nervous anticipation. They knew he might cry during the injection, but they also knew how important this was for his health, and how lucky they were to be able to care for him like this. "I remember when he was born," Diem murmured, brushing a hand over his head. "So tiny, and now he's going for his first big boy vaccine." Toan smiled at her through the rearview mirror. "He's growing up fast. And we get to be by his side every step of the way." As the car pulled into the parking lot of the vaccination center, Diem looked down at her son, who was now humming softly to himself. Her heart swelled with love and pride. No matter how small the moment may seem, to them it was everything. The vaccination center was already buzzing with activity when Toan and Ly Tu Diem arrived with their son. Inside, the waiting area was filled with parents holding their young children, some crying, some fussing, and others curiously watching their surroundings. The hum of conversation, occasional baby wails, and the distant sound of nurses calling out names blended into the atmosphere of careful urgency. Toan parked the car and opened the door for Diem, who gently lifted their son from his car seat. He clung to her shoulder, wide-eyed and quiet. Though he didn't fully understand what was happening, he could sense that this place was different. "Don't worry, sweetheart," Diem whispered, pressing a kiss to his forehead. "Mommy and Daddy are right here. Nothing bad is going to happen." Toan walked ahead to handle the registration while Diem sat down on the cushioned bench with their son in her lap. The little boy gripped his stuffed bunny tightly, holding it close to his chest like a tiny shield. He glanced around nervously at the other children, some of whom were already in tears after their shots. The sight made him bury his face into Diem's neck. "It's okay," she cooed. "You're such a brave little one." Toan returned moments later with the paperwork complete. "We're number 18. Should be up in a few minutes." He crouched down next to them, offering a reassuring smile. "Are we ready, champ?" Their son didn't reply but peeked out from behind Diem's shoulder with a serious look. It was the kind of look only toddlers could give, uncertain, slightly betrayed, but trusting enough to stay still. When their number was finally called, Diem and Toan stood together, walking calmly into the examination room. A kind nurse greeted them with a gentle smile. "Good morning, parents. And hello there, little one." Their son clung even tighter to Diem as they sat on the bench near the nurse's station. She explained the process clearly: temperature check, a quick health question, and then the shot. Everything was going smoothly until the needle came out. The little boy's eyes widened. He whimpered, then started to squirm in Diem's lap. "Hold in gently but firmly," the nurse instructed. Diem wrapped her arms securely around him, whispering, "It's just a little pinch, baby. Just 1 second." Toan stepped closer, crouched in front of his son, holding his hand and locking eyes with him. "Daddy's right here. Just a little bit, okay?" Then came the shot. The boy let out a sharp cry, startled more by the sensation than the pain. His small face scrunched up as tears streamed down his cheeks, and a loud wail followed. Diem kissed the top of his head, rocking him back and forth while Toan rubbed his back. "You did amazing," Diem whispered soothingly. So brave." The nurse smiled kindly as she applied a small cartoon-themed bandage. "That's it, all done." He was really strong, some kids screamed even louder. The boy continued to sniffle but was starting to calm down in his mother's arms. His cries softened into tiny sobs as he looked up at his father, who gave him a big thumbs up. "See?" Toan grinned. "You did it! And guess what? It's time for that ice cream we talked about. A small, hesitant smile tugged at the corners of the boy's lips. He didn't say a word, but his eyes were clearer now, his trust still intact. They exited the room together, Toan carrying the vaccination card, Diem holding their son tight. The moment had passed, but it left behind a memory of strength, love, and tenderness. A simple appointment had become another milestone in their journey as parents. After leaving the vaccination center, the mood had lightened significantly. The little boy, though still slightly sniffling, had calmed down in his mother's arms. The warmth of the late morning sun kissed their faces as they walked toward the parking lot, and the worst part of the day was now behind them. Toan unlocked the car and opened the door for Diem, who gently placed their son in the car seat. Before buckling him in, she brushed a kiss on his forehead and whispered, "You were so brave. Mommy's proud of you." Toan leaned over with a smile, adding, "And now, as promised, ice cream time." At the mention of ice cream again, the little boy's eyes lit up just enough to melt their hearts all over again. Though he was tired and still a bit shaken, the idea of a cold, sweet treat was clearly something he could get behind. They drove a short distance to a quiet, family-friendly cafe that served homemade ice cream. It had small outdoor tables under white umbrellas and a play area with swings and colorful benches. Toan parked the car and lifted his son out carefully, while Diem grabbed the diaper bag and followed behind. Once inside, they approached the glass counter where dozens of vibrant flavors were displayed. The boy stared in awe at the rainbow of choices, his eyes big and curious. Toan knelt down beside him. "Which one, champ? Chocolate? Strawberry? Or maybe vanilla?" The boy pointed a tiny finger toward the strawberry flavor with soft swirls of cream. Toan smiled at the staff. "One strawberry scoop, please." He turned to Diem. "And what about the lady who kept our little soldier calm through battle?" Diem chuckled. Chocolate for me." They took their seats outside under the shade, the air fresh and the sky clear. Their son sat in a booster chair between them, happily licking his pink ice cream, bits of it already smeared on his cheeks and nose. Diem laughed. "Well, that's going to end up all over his shirt." Toan handed her a wet wipe, smiling. "Part of the experience." They watched him eat with pure delight, the weight of the morning finally lifting. The stress of the vaccination, the tears, the anxiety, it had all been worth it to witness this one moment of joy. It was the kind of simple happiness that made everything else feel small. Toan reached across the table and took Diem's hand. "You were amazing in there. I know you were scared too, but you didn't show it." Diem looked at him, her expression soft. "We're both learning as we go, aren't we? Every little moment with him feels like the first time." The boy suddenly looked up and giggled, a smear of ice cream on his nose. "Mama," he called, holding out a sticky hand. She leaned in, letting him touch her cheek. "Yes, love?" He just smiled, no words, just pure affection, and then went back to his ice cream. Toan and Diem exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. This was everything they had hoped for. They didn't need grand vacations, luxury hotels, or fancy dinners. What mattered most was this: the three of them, together, in the simplest of moments. A small victory like a vaccination, a treat to celebrate courage, and a child who loved them with all his heart. Later, as they packed up and got ready to drive home, their son fell asleep in his car seat, still holding his half-eaten cone. Diem smiled as she adjusted his seatbelt. Our brave little boy. Toan started the engine and looked back through the rearview mirror at the sleeping child. He makes me feel like the richest man in the world. And with that, they drove home, hearts full, hands held, and a love stronger than ever.